Hey, so do you guys ever wonder why there are so many video games with so much DLC these days? It's because our budgeting system for video game projects is completely and utterly broken. One of my friends, Dumo Dude, recently posted a video about how single-player games don't feel like complete games anymore. You have to pay $60 for the game, and then you have to pay for all this DLC to get the complete experience. The reason for that? They're not complete games. Studios cannot afford to make complete games. The vast majority of video game studios budget their games such that even if they sold way beyond expectation, they will still lose money. They only ever make a profit if they sell DLC. That's just the main game. They will lose money on the main game if they don't sell DLC. And if that sounds stupid, that's because it is. Major single-player AAA games require teams of hundreds to thousands of people. Why do you think the credit scrolls are so long? All of these people need to be paid a full-time salary for years, and they're still overworked and forced to crunch. This is partially because game expectations have changed. AAA games have basically disappeared. Anything that's a reasonable mid-range experience basically doesn't exist anymore, with very few exceptions like Psychonauts 2. That means any game that isn't made by a small team in someone's garage has to chase blockbuster money. And that degree of financial success can usually only be attained by extra sales after the game has already had its initial sales. Because publishing houses only ever pocket $15 to $20 from each game sale, but they pocket the majority of every DLC sale. That means if they sell like a semi-big DLC pack, they'll make just as much as they did on the main game. It's as if they sold a whole other copy, and they put a lot less money and time and effort into that DLC. And they need to, because once again, games are basically budgeted at a loss. If the same amount of time and effort were put into every DLC as was every main game, then every game studio would go out of business. So the question is, how do we fix this? Well, one way is gamers can just demand less. If we brought back the AA sector, then we can make smaller experiences that are bigger than indie games, but that don't need DLC to survive. But that means that gamers need to vote for their wallet. They need to spend money on short 20-hour experiences as much as they spend on long 100-hour experiences. We can offload some of the costs to crowdfunding, but whenever a studio does that, a lot of people get upset. They're like, why is this multi-billion-dollar corporation asking for money from us? Or, here's a radical solution, and forgive me for getting political. The highest rung of publishers, the owners, investors, and CEOs, can take home less money. None of these guys are poor, and devoting even a fraction of their money to the game development process would make budgets so much easier. But that would require, I don't know, like redistributing the wealth from the most wealthy parts of a company to its most valuable worker. I mean, come on. It's almost like if you want to do best by the consumer, you have to prioritize the people who actually make the product that they buy. But I mean, what do I know? I'm just a game journalist walking a dog in a hoodie.